Congressman, there's one issue that comes up in conversation, whether it's with the women in Florida or neighbors or family members or whomever. When we talk about the war on terror, it inevitably ends up talking about the border security issues. And so I understand you've been to the border.
I have been to the border.
And I was wondering if you could share with us where are we with border security?
Well,
how safe are we?
Well, a number of things. On the southern border of the United States, we've got problems from time to time on the northern border with Canada as well. Mm-hmm. But every sovereign nation has, in my view, the right and an obligation to defend itself and defend its borders, to know who's coming, what their background is. Are they a criminal? Are they a terrorist? Are they coming to work hard and build a better life? Or maybe they come in to take advantage of our welfare system, our education system, our healthcare system, etc. After 9/11, there has been a new factor to work into the equation about who to admit into your country and how to protect your border. And that is that if people can get here illegally without us knowing who they are, there's a potential for them to do catastrophic damage in one of our cities or one of our schools or one of our theme parks on the order of 9/11 or worse. And about 150,000 people a year, we don't have the exact number, that come over our border illegally on the south are what's called OTMs, other than Mexicans. That means that they are not Mexicans that are coming to work temporarily or come join their families. That doesn't mean they're all terrorists. Maybe very few of them are, but it only takes 5 or 10 or 15 or 19 in the case of 9/11 to do catastrophic damage. We have got to secure our border, not just because of the economic impact, not just to know that there are not criminals or welfare deadbeats coming to our country, but also in a post-9/11 era to secure America from another 9/11 type attack.
There's been some discussion about the fence.
Well, there are a number of ways to secure the border. Certainly, there are areas where the fence or a wall would be preferable. There are other areas that are desolate enough that a number of cameras and personnel that could move around either by a jeep or a small aeroplane could get into position to interrupt. And I think that the important point is that there's not one mechanism to secure the border, but all 2,000 miles of our southern border should be secured. I have visited the North Korean demilitarized zone, and you'll remember that on the demilitarized zone we have about 29,000 troops for about 155 miles of border. But on our southern border we've got 2,000 miles of border and only 2,000 officers. I was in Arizona, about 50 miles north of the Mexican border, where I saw machine gun nests that were used by coyotes, illegals that sit in nests with radio equipment, with telescopes, with binoculars, and with guns. And they radio to a nest south of them all the way down to the southernmost border as they navigate ways to transfer both dangerous drugs and illegals across our border. The other thing that you need to know is these coyotes that are involved in human smuggling. For Mexicans, when I was there, the going rate, the average cost to get smuggled safely deep into Arizona was about $1,500 to $2,000. But for a Middle Eastern man, the cost was $30,000 or $35,000. That tells you that there is a marketplace to bring people across our borders that we know are not Mexicans, that we know are from the Middle East, but we have no earthly idea what else they may be up to. That's scary.
That's very scary, and this is an issue that I think as Republicans we always felt that we were strong on, security, national security, homeland security. This issue is hurting us. I mean, there are a lot of people that feel that we're not as aggressive as we need to be, that the resources are not being allocated to protect our borders.
Well, we're a nation of immigrants.
Yes.
Until Lyndon Johnson was president, the reason people came to America was knowing that they would have to work hard, but that they could build a better life for their children and their grandchildren. And then you had the great so-called war on poverty, where we established free housing, free welfare, free aid to dependent children, free education, free health care, some 70 other entitlement programs that if you could prove you were poor, you were entitled to. And suddenly, while some people still came to America to work hard, other people came just to get free goodies from American hardworking taxpayers and citizens. So one problem we had was in the 60s as we created a great welfare state. And now since 9/11, we have another problem. And that is that a small group of people with the right biological, chemical, or God forbid, nuclear weapons can devastate an entire city or an entire population. So what we have to do is to establish some principles. Number one, prevention. We've got to find out who's coming and what they're up to. Number two, protection. Make sure that we're protecting our schools, our taxes, our emergency hospital rooms, our communities from a burden that they can't sustain. Number three is accountability. If you're here legally or illegally and you break the law, for example, a bill I support, if you get caught driving drunk or if you commit a violent crime, you're automatically deported without a hearing. And number four, compassion. We are a compassionate people. We want hardworking people that want to come build a better future to have an opportunity to come here. I'm for legal immigration, but I oppose illegal immigration.
Any new legislation?
Well, I should say that the United States House in the last Congress passed a very strong and responsible border protection bill. It fined employers who knowingly hired people without checking their status with the American government, $5,000 per employee. It built a lot more wall and fence and had predator drones and other surveillance activities on the border. It added security in terms of border security and INS, Immigration Services. That bill, it deported people automatically if they were caught with a violent offense or drunk driving. Unfortunately, that bill did not pass the United States Senate, and I should tell you that now that the Democrats are in charge of the House and the Senate, I believe their ultimate goal is to bring more illegals here and try to get them registered to vote as rapidly as possible. And their motive is to get an electorate that will support the party that wants higher welfare benefits, more freebies, more food stamps, more free housing. And I'm afraid that the Democrats are right in this political calculus that they will be benefited if they have a bunch of socialists come across the border and get eligible to vote.
So what can we do? I mean,
Well,
what can we do as grassroots people, as citizens that are concerned about the country? What can we do?
Well, to start with, I think everybody needs to call their own representative and find out how they voted on the House bill last year, which was the tough border security bill. And they need to encourage their senator and their representative to support that bill. Whether it's a Republican or Democrat that represents you, you ought to call them and let you know how you feel. Number two, you ought to talk about the McCain-Kennedy bill as being unacceptable. The notion that we're going to have what amounts to amnesty for anybody that's been here for more than 2 years is totally unacceptable. Number three, you need to tell President Bush how you feel, because he's been all too lax in terms of how he would treat illegals that come here. Not only has the administration been soft on protecting our border, but the administration has signed a secret agreement with Mexico called a totalization agreement. And what it says is that if you have been here working illegally from Mexico, that we will make you eligible for Social Security benefits in the future. Well, we already know that our Social Security system starts to lose money in the year 2014, will probably be totally belly up and in the red by the year 2020 or 2025, and will be broke by the year 2045. If we start making illegal Mexicans eligible for Social Security benefits, we're just going to rush the day when the Social Security system for our retirees is bankrupt. All of that's unacceptable. People need to let their representatives and senators know how they feel.
Okay, I heard about that, but I thought it couldn't possibly be true. I thought certainly the president wouldn't get into an agreement of that nature. I mean, it's
that
shocking to me.
That agreement, once it's presented to Congress, Congress will have an opportunity to kill, and you can guarantee, or you can feel assured that I will vote to kill it. But what was also shocking, not just the agreement itself, but the agreement was hidden from the American people. It took a request for freedom under the Freedom for Information Act to get that information, and that's very scary.
Very scary. Gosh, I really appreciate everything you've told me. We'll share it with our members and our neighbors, and again, thank you so much, and thank you for being conservative and being up there and representing us so well. We appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate the great work that your organization does to have Republican women around the country fighting for freedom and helping sell the message is important. It's what made Ronald Reagan success, what made us a majority party, and it's what will get us back into leadership in the future. So thank you.
Thank you.